Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dad's Turn to Talk. My name is Bob, and we got a good one for you tonight as we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals, the 50th anniversary of the movie Jaws, and we're going to be giving some of our favorite movie posters. Now, I do want to go ahead and take this moment to ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and just a quick reminder that we do timestamp all of our topics. So if there's something specific you want to jump to, you can go ahead and do that. But we do encourage you to stay and watch the rest of the show. Now, I do want to go ahead and apologize for all of the bad takes that we had last week. So speaking of bad takes, Josh, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Are you feeling better after last week?
I am feeling better. I'm going to behave myself tonight. I did not like how I acted last week, and I'm just going to move forward.
You get about 5 minutes until that starts to change.
Oh God, Josh. Okay. You were fine last week, Josh.
Thank you.
Anyway, Derek, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I thought that was some of our best work ever last week, actually.
I had fun.
And now we can, be on the same level as like those other shows out there, like First Take, that has their own format. And I believe there's one on FS1 as well. We'll be running the hits like all of them. So thank you, Josh. Appreciate all the hard work.
You're welcome. I guess I'm the next Stephen A. Smith.
No, you're nowhere near that. You're Skip Bayless at best, maybe.
Oh, thank you.
No, don't be happy about that.
I was thinking he's more like Ryan Orlovsky or Orlovsky or whatever.
Can you not say his name? Ryan Orlovsky? Dan Orlovsky.
Ryan, Dan, whatever.
No. You can't say that.
Well, you corrected me. And I admit that I got it wrong because I said it wrong twice right there.
Mm-hmm.
At least I don't say it with conviction. I was very clear that I was not sure on his name. You, on the other hand, you just put fire into those things.
I finally caught you. Yes.
Oh.
Over some B talk show host? Yeah, way to go.
Goodness, Josh. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's topics, and we're going to go ahead and start with the NBA Finals. That's right, folks. The NBA Finals are over. Game 7 was Sunday night, and the Thunder won the series. And, a few weeks ago, we had our basketball correspondents on here, and we all made our predictions. And I went back and watched a little bit of that show, and it was amazing how I was able to nail that sucker. I mean, I called it to a T. I said that the Thunder would beat the Indiana Pacers in 7 games. I said that Shea would be the MVP. Liar! Okay, maybe I didn't say that. I was completely off. But I gotta say, it was a pretty impressive series. I do think it was pretty sad what happened to Halliburton. I would have liked to have seen how that game would have turned out had he not gotten hurt, because he was playing like a warrior. But you got my hats off to Oklahoma City. Their defense was something else, and Shea, he's a star. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's start with you, Josh. What do you think of these finals and the outcome? What are your overall thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you this, Bob. This was really the first time in a long time that I watched a lot of these finals, and I really enjoyed it. And we had just some exciting games with, Indy coming back. What was that, in game 1 or 2 when they were down big?
Well, I think they were down in game 1, and then they came back and won it.
Which was insane.
They were down double digits. I mean, it was a pretty big.
I turned it off.
Comeback.
Yeah, I turned it off, and I went back, and I was like, oh my God. So yeah. And then I agree with you, Bob, 100%. Oklahoma, that defense, just, they played amazing. And yes, I feel bad for Halliburton. I think it would have been different. Don't you, Derek? in terms of I don't know that he would have won it, but because Oklahoma was just too good, but I think we would have gotten a lot closer, game because was it Oklahoma was up like 92-61
Yeah, something
early
it was
on in the third, right? Like they were dominating.
I'll get to mine.
Okay.
I'm gonna make my point
That's
about
fine.
that.
But I thought it, congratulations to Oklahoma. I'll say our correspondent, Jeremy, ended up getting it all right, actually. He called Oklahoma over Indy in the finals. And we tried to bring him on tonight, but he couldn't make it. But what's that?
That's right. He did call it.
He did call that.
Yeah, and I had been talking about it. And he's like, remember on Dad's Turn to Talk, I called Oklahoma winning it all. Because I kept getting
confused. That doesn't excuse his bad takes about the Lakers. So,
right.
So Jeremy, if you're watching, the fact that you got this right, that doesn't excuse you and the Lakers and LeBron. They're still losers, and we'll talk about them much later. But my hat's off to you, Jeremy. Way to call that one.
Because I thought he had said on here that he thought Oklahoma would get to the finals, but that they wouldn't win it, that they were a year away.
No. What he said was that he was afraid that maybe that the fact that they didn't have that championship experience, that they were a very young team, that he thought maybe that might kick in and that spotlight would be too big for them when they got to that big moment. But that's not what happened. Now, he did say that he thought they were going to win it all, but what he was afraid was going to happen is that they would get to that big moment and they would have a letdown, but they sure didn't.
Real quick for both of you, I was asking the other guys on my other text chain this the other day. Is this the second title in franchise history because Oklahoma was Seattle? Do they count that since they were in Seattle and won it in 79?
No.
They don't count it as a second title?
No. Why would they count a Seattle win for an Oklahoma City run?
Because I'm saying in the franchise, because this franchise was Seattle.
True.
But they won a championship
didn't they count
there, and now they're here.
I don't know, but they're saying yes. The other guys are saying yes, you count it as because it's part of the same franchise, but it's the first title for Oklahoma.
Well, that's stupid. No.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm looking at because we all know this is the beacon of integrity. I'm looking at Wikipedia, and they are counting the championship in 1979. And I guess that would make sense because it is technically the same franchise. It's like anything that the Cleveland Browns did before they moved to Baltimore, which was nothing. All of that counts, still as part of the franchise. Because
or the Minneapolis Lakers, right?
What?
Didn't the Minneapolis Lakers win a championship back in the day?
Well, yeah, they count those.
Yeah. So, this counts.
Well, that's really then that's a pinhead way to do things. Let's just
tell them.
Look, I guess I could understand why people might not want to count it because they didn't just move the franchise. I mean, they changed the name and everything. Sometimes the cities still own the name. Like people, when they talk about the Browns, for example, they talk about the long history in Cleveland. It's not a long history. This Browns team has only been there since what, 99, something like that?
Yeah.
9.
So it's a younger franchise.
They say that, yet they still say the last time Cleveland won a divisional crown was in 1989.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Championship was in 46.
You can't say that about the current Browns. That's a totally different franchise.
Right.
So I get why people would want to say it's a different franchise because they think of the franchise belonging to that city. In this case, it's not. I mean, they did move. So you're right, Josh. This would be the second in franchise history.
Got it. All right, go ahead, Derek.
But they're first in Oklahoma.
Correct. First in Oklahoma.
So.
All right, I'm good with mine. Very good win for Oklahoma.
All right. That's a dumb rule. I don't care who says it with Wikipedia or whoever else, and it's stupid and pinheadish. And
hey, like I said, that is the beacon of integrity right there.
exactly. Boy, are they laying it on thick with that honorable stuff tonight. All right. So, yes, Jeremy did call it. And I remember G saying that is the saltiest Laker response to an NBA.
And you know what's funny is that all of us were saying that about him. You know?
bunch of losers!
Yes.
That guy, he came on early tonight. That was good.
No,
we were losers on that one.
Yep.
Lord.
Yeah.
Like I said, Jeremy, my hats off to you for calling.
Yeah, he did it.
I thought Minnesota. I picked New York. I picked New York over
There were,
Minnesota.
there were a lot of people that did pick New York. I remember in the first glimpse of what was going to be the NBA Finals, I had to actually say that to myself. I said, "You're telling me that the NBA Finals this year are the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder?" And when I say it like that, you can feel my disinterest, right?
Yes.
You get it from the tone. Then I watch game one, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to shut up now. this is pretty insane. And actually, every game was like that until the last one. And that's why I really, really felt bad for Halliburton, because I'm like, oh, he goes out like this, like, it didn't look like it was going to be an injury that he was going to fully heal from, potentially even next season. It looked awful.
Yeah.
I hope he didn't like tear up an Achilles or something like that.
No, he did.
Yeah,
Oh, he
was
did?
Achilles.
That was it? Oh, God. Oh.
First they thought it was the calf, but it was the Achilles. But Bob, you and I are so, and Derek too now, are so focused like with football and injuries with that. For basketball, does it take a year to heal up the Achilles? Like, is he gone for all of
He
that?
may be.
I mean, that's going to take a while to heal.
Yeah.
It's not like this is going to be an overnight healing or anything like that.
No, he could be out all next season. That is entirely possible.
So that could change their drafting for tomorrow night, right?
It could. I don't know if it will, but it could. And the thing is, like, I can't remember exactly what Klay Thompson's injury is, but I think an Achilles was involved, and he was out for a season and a half.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was brutal.
So it is
So
definitely longer.
yeah, I hope that I hope he gets back, as fast as he can, obviously with health being first and foremost.
Yeah.
But man, that guy was the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah.
And he was not only the heart and soul, he was their best player, in my personal opinion. I'm sure there may be some other arguments out there. But to me, and I think a lot of the majority, Halliburton was the Pacers' best player, and you could feel it when he was on the court. So to watch that injury happen was rough.
Yeah, I don't want to say the energy got sucked out of the stadium or the arena, because obviously they were on the road.
Yeah.
But you could just see it in the faces of the Indiana fans that were there.
Oh, yeah.
And they knew at that point that
It was done.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
And his teammates. It affects his teammates too.
Yeah, it does. It didn't at first, actually. They stayed in there for the first half.
A little bit.
They were
Well,
ahead
they
by
were even
one.
up by a point at that
That's
halftime.
right.
But then
Yeah,
they just pulled away. Oklahoma pulled away.
Yeah, then the minute the second half started, it was done.
It was done. They couldn't shoot. They couldn't do anything.
No. And I remember I was picking my oldest up from a birthday party, and the dad, who I've gotten to know pretty well, he opens the door and he goes, "Halliburton just got hurt." And I'm like, "What?" And so we were watching him get carried off the court. That was so sad. So, man, that's rough. But to your point, Josh, I don't even know if that would have helped here. I mean, yes, if Halliburton were in, this would have been much closer. Maybe even a potential overtime situation.
Yeah.
I still think Thunder wins.
They probably do, but I'm like you. I think it's a lot closer if he's there, because one of the things that they were able to do all series is have these come from behind victories.
Yes.
And that element was pretty much taken away from them. Well, not that they couldn't have done it, but it's a lot harder because he was their star.
Yes.
And like after that, they lost the ability to have a player who could go out and generate offense, who was a threat to drive it, who was a threat to score from the outside, to pass, all of that. They just didn't have it after that. I didn't really see anybody step up, and it's not like their backup point guard TJ McConnell is a scrub. He's actually a pretty good player, but
Lord.
Keep coming in and out of here. Sorry about that.
You're good. You're good.
Called mute.
No, I don't need to do that. No, if it bothers Josh, I'm just going to keep doing it more. So, having said that, I do think that Oklahoma still would have won. And the reason I say that is because I thought originally when all of this started that they were a one-trick pony. I thought they had SGA and everything else was like smoke and mirrors after that. I was proven wrong. That was a comprehensive team. It's not that SGA isn't still the star. He is, but everybody else stepped up. And I think it was to follow his lead. And that's what I noticed the most about when OKC, even the games they lost, they kind of felt like they were in it to win it. And they just played better. They played better. That was it. And you know what? We also need to give a shout out to the OKC management and that leadership and whoever's running that operation. Holy Moses. All that time that they were sticking up the joint, they were playing chess. Well, everybody else was playing checkers. They knew what they had to do. And they executed it dang near flawlessly. They are now set up for success for how many years you guys think? Good.
It's going to be a while because I can't think of anybody like off the top of my head. I can't think of anybody who really is a threat to them right now. At least not in the West.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota.
So,
Minnesota.
Okay, here's the thing about that, though. Minnesota's going to need a little bit more other than just Anthony Edwards.
Right.
So depending on how they draft or if they make other moves, you may be right on that, Josh. But right now, it can't just be him.
I mean, Oklahoma could very easily repeat.
Oh, I think they like the probability of that is actually pretty strong. Unless now that Katie's in Houston, that may change things too. We're going to get into that later episode, but that could change things up. It could. I'm not saying it will, but that team now has a very big weapon on it when they're already a big weaponized team already. They are big, young athletes. I'm not saying KD is the young part, but if the team is already a bunch of guys who are a wall, he's only going to add to that.
What do you think, Bob, about all this?
Well, I mean, the defense, like I said, of this team was something else. Yeah. The personnel that they put together, they have some great cohesion on defense. I mean, they were forcing turnovers, getting steals. They were up in your face. They, forcing, like 10-second violations, all sorts of stuff. I mean, this was a smothering defense, and they could score too. That's the thing. This was a well-balanced team. Yeah. And like I said, Shea is a star. They got some good coaching. And like you said, Derek, this is a team that's set up for success for quite a while. I don't see anybody who can really challenge them. This is going to be a fun team to watch here in for the near future. I like what I saw, and I mean, they've got something special here.
They do. Let me ask this: is there anybody on the East? Do you think you could give them a run for their money?
I'd like to say New York, but except for the fact that they got rid of their coach, because I think they were right there on the cusp. I don't think Boston's going to be the same. Maybe Cleveland, if they can stay healthy, because I think Cleveland was a real letdown when they got to the playoffs. I think that they're better than what they showed.
Yep.
And maybe next year we can get that finals that we all kind of really wanted was the team that had that best record in the East, Cleveland, and that team that was the best in the West, Oklahoma City, and see those two go at it, because I think that could be a very interesting series.
Yeah.
So are you guys giving up on Indy? Was this a
No.
one and
No. They're not going to be the same without Halliburton.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
This is a team that he's not going to be back, not right away next year.
Yeah.
No.
let me put it to you this way. Well, so they'll probably be like a 6 or 7 seed next year. I still think they'll be good. They're not going to be Halliburton good. That's off the table.
Right.
The teams to watch probably in the East next year, although this is the talent is starting to really increase over there. But I still think the Knicks will be one of them, even whoever the new coach is. Cleveland will be another. To Bob's point, they didn't show off nearly what they were capable of, and I think they're gonna come back with a vengeance for that, because
I still think
Boston's not going to be the same though.
Because Tatum, remember he
That's
got hurt?
exactly right.
Didn't he tear his Achilles also?
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be like top. I don't know about 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah, without Tatum, this is going to be a different team. I mean, Jaylen Brown is going to have to be the guy. And I'm not saying that he can't be, but we'll have to see, because that's going to be interesting if he can step up and be that guy. And then they're going to need to get somebody else to go around him. And what about Porzingis? Is he still going to be there next year? I don't know what this team is going to look like next year.
Good question. I'll tell you who to look out for in the East, though, is Detroit.
I think that's an up-and-coming team.
Yeah. I think they're going to be a very serious threat. Shout out, Josh, to Dorian. Because I think I honestly believe I saw Detroit pull off some really awesome stuff last season. Now, I'm not saying that they're a team that could go up against the Thunder and, give them a run for their money yet, but you give them some time, I think they're going to become a force.
And they very well could.
I have a team that I'm looking at right now. How about Orlando? Could they be? They're young.
I don't know. I think jury's still out on Orlando.
What do you think?
Didn't
they just get a big trade of some kind? Who was it that they?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Anthony Simmons.
No, that wasn't it.
Let me see.
Because I'm wanting to say that they were going to be getting somebody.
No, I thought it fell through.
Let's see. Acquired Desmond Bane from the Grizzlies.
No, but
So they got Desmond Bane.
Yep, and then I'm trying to see if there's anything else here. That may have been the one as of right now. I'm not seeing any others. So look, Orlando. I know. Now it's going to drive us crazy. Let me say this about Orlando, Josh. They have pieces. They have pieces.
They do.
I don't think it's the full. They don't have all the tools that they need right now.
No, I think over Orlando. I think Detroit definitely is. Where they were 2 years ago versus where they were now is amazing.
No, I get it. Absolutely, totally true. The Pistons are way more of an up and coming team than I think Orlando is right now.
Yeah.
I think if Orlando right now, with the way they got into the playoffs, that's what their story would be if they keep this up the way they are right now.
Maybe a team that could give a run, not in the East. This is back in the West. Maybe Houston now that they got Durant, but
but he is 40 years old though.
Yeah, I don't understand, because we were going to actually kind of talk about that trade today, and we didn't. But they gave up a lot of pieces.
They gave up
to get him, and I just don't know if he's the same Durant. I mean, you're not getting something long term out of him.
Let's save this. But to Bob's point, Houston could be a contender still, because Katie's still playing at a pretty great rate right now. He's 36 years old. He's not showing off as 36 though. He's still, he's still got the juice. I'm not saying it's 28-year-old KD, but there's still enough in him there. And if you have that and a number of other pieces that are formidable threats, that could cause problems for OKC. It could. I don't know if it will, but it could.
Let me ask you guys this one question. If Game 7 had been in Indianapolis and Halliburton still got hurt, does the victory change, or you still think Oklahoma does it?
Still Thunder.
What about with Halliburton healthy?
Oh, that no! I thought you said with Halliburton out in Indianapolis.
I said both. Look at both ways.
If healthy, that's a different story.
Interesting.
That's a different story. Then it's 50-50 in my eyes.
I think Indy could have pulled it off if had Halliburton stayed healthy.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's a coin toss for me. I don't know at that point, but unfortunately, we'll never know. But OKC is going to be around and a real good team for a long time,
and they're going to be fun to watch. That's the thing.
I say 5 or 6 years they're going to be good. For 5 or 6 years, I think.
I was actually going to say around 7 or 8.
Wow!
If they can keep the nucleus of this team together,
that's the thing. Yeah,
they're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, I don't see SGA going anywhere anytime soon. I think he's going to be nice and cozy over there in Oklahoma City. Yep. So, thank you for the finals, NBA.
It was very good.
Thank you for the whole playoff. All the playoffs. They were all really great.
Hey, any playoff where the Lakers lose in the first round is good. So,
see what happens tomorrow night, NBA draft.
Shout out, Jeremy.
But no, it was fun finals, fun playoffs. Like I said, congratulations to Oklahoma City. This is a team that's got a bright future. So, looking forward to watching them.
Right on.
Anything else about the finals, gentlemen?
Nope.
I think that's it for now, right? We covered the turf.
Yep.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into our next topic. This should be a lot of fun here.
It's still good.
All right. So on the 20th of this month, Jaws turned 50 years old.
It's crazy.
And NBC actually did a special airing of Jaws for its 50th anniversary with an intro by Steven Spielberg. They also put the original film with that intro to stream on Peacock, along with all the other crappy Jaws films. Because they are crappy. But the original is something else entirely. And I actually watched it on Peacock today, got to see that intro. It's like a 4 to 5 minute intro by Steven Spielberg, just kind of talking a little bit about the behind the scenes stuff about Jaws, how they went over budget, they went over schedule and everything and all the problems that they had. So they weren't even sure that Jaws was going to be a success, but it did release June 20th, 1975, and it is known as being the beginning of the summer blockbuster. Just some side notes. This was a best-selling novel written by Peter Benchley, I believe is the last name.
That's right.
And he actually helped write the screenplay for it. He even had a cameo as a reporter. But so Peter Benchley's novel becomes Jaws. It's directed by Steven Spielberg in what was his second film that he directed. So, gentlemen, looking back at Jaws, what do you think about it? Looking back at it now, is it still a classic? Did it make you want to get out of the water and avoid the ocean? What were your thoughts on this film? Josh, we started with you first last time. So, Derek, why don't you tell us your experience with Jaws and what you think of it today?
Oh, man. It's funny how we're talking about this because our next topic will actually show you how iconic Jaws still is, which we'll talk about later. Jaws is great. it's absolutely tremendous. There are two movies, one that was made in 75, one that was made in 76, that scared people so bad. I told this to Bob earlier, where one, you either stayed on land, or two, you went to church. One was Jaws and the other was The Exorcist.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you
That's
were going to
how they
say
work.
Yep.
That's how it worked. And
Yep.
so this was the one that made you not swim unless you were in a pool. And even then you got scared.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely adore Jaws. It's, man, you look back at Steven Spielberg back in those days with like the 70s and the 80s, he couldn't miss, man. Oh God, he just had such a absolute amazing filmography that he still to this day can easily hold his hat on. If he actually didn't like do the serious stuff that he did later, he could easily just put his hat on that and say, "Thank you, everybody," and walk away happy.
I would argue that all of his serious stuff doesn't even match up to what he did earlier. I mean, the only thing I can think of in his later career was Lincoln, right?
Lincoln was, it was
Schindler's List.
But there was
but that's still fairly young Steven Spielberg.
And I would say Lincoln.
Yeah, Schindler's List was 92.
I'd say anything from the 70s through the 90s, I think he did was pretty good.
I would say you're right, Bob. Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah.
So
that's
right, Derek. There's a lot in the 70s and 80s he could just hang his hat on.
We need to do we need to do another episode. We just talk about that period of Spielberg, because
just rank his movies.
Seriously, it's untouchable. It's just amazing what he pulled off, and this really kind of was the start for all of it for him. And you don't really think of Spielberg as like a horror guy, but he did this in spades. Not to mention the fact that I loved Roy Scheider, who plays Police Chief Martin Brody. Absolutely fantastic. Josh, I'm sorry, I told this to Bob earlier today too, but I have to say it. Sometimes you remind me of Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws. You are going to continue to avoid this problem when it's biting you in the ass.
You know what's funny, Josh, is that I told Derek, I said, yeah, if he's Richard Dreyfuss, then you and I are Quint, because we're like, you got silly hands, Mr. Hooper.
Oh my God, that is funny.
Well played. Well played.
Yeah.
And like Bob said, the rest of them are just garbage.
Oh God.
But I'll tell you what, Shark Week doesn't happen without this movie.
Oh God, no.
Be not mistaken. You can still go to Universal Studios and see the cheesy robotic
shark. There Friday. I'll be there Friday, and I'll see that cheesy shark.
And look, the Universal Studios tour is still one of the best things they have there.
Oh heck yeah!
Be not mistaken. I mean, they've improved it a lot. I'm not trying to say that it hasn't done great things since then, but this Universal Studios tour is just iconic.
Yep.
And the Jaws part is one of the reasons why.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so awesome.
And again, it's funny because I know I'm into a lot of like sci-fi horror, but like real horror, I'm kind of like, ugh. But this is just so good and so iconic still that I think it's almost criminal not to appreciate a movie this awesome. I love it. That's my soapbox rant there.
We'll talk about this after we all give our thoughts on it. Josh, what do you think?
Well,
Jaws? What your experience with it? How do you think it is now? Oh, what do you think of it now?
Well, it was funny because the other night I came down the stairs and a lady that you both know very well, my mother was here visiting, and she's like, "Sit down, look what's on." And her favorite movie was on, Jaws.
I didn't realize that was her favorite movie.
That's one of her favorite movies. She watches it. I think she told me the other night she's seen it probably 1,000 times. And it still scares her. And she wouldn't let me go anywhere. I'm like, well, I got to run up. She's like, no, I don't want you to leave. I want you to watch it. And we were towards it was like probably the middle, I guess, the last hour and a half or hour we watched together. And, there were some things that you were like, I told Bobby this earlier, Derek, that I was like, okay, but it still looked good. It still looked good. Richard Dreyfuss all over the place. Like moving around and, it was just funny. And
Yeah.
then, what's his name? I'm going to butcher the name. Roy,
Schneider.
right. When
Yeah.
he's giving throwing the blood and everything in the water, he's not looking, and you see Jaws come right up, and he like has to back away and everything. And it was
that's
funny
when he delivers that iconic line, "You're going to need a bigger boat."
Yes, you're gonna need a bigger boat. And then I'm like, is this? And it was so funny because it's been so long. I was like, is this where he shoots Jaws and Jaws explodes, or was that one of the other movies? But it was this one.
Yeah, no, it was this one.
And
It was
yeah,
this
it was
one.
this. How did they kill Jaws in the other ones?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
First, okay, the second one, Chief Brody electrocuted him.
Okay.
In the third one, I think they blew him up with a grenade, if I remember correctly. No, it was like an underwater grenade or something like that. The guy, there was like the grenade was like already in Jaws' mouth because somebody's hand was holding the grenade and whatnot. And then in the last one, they used like a strobe or something like that caused the shark to jump out of the water, and they drove like the front wooden part of the boat right through Jaws.
Yeah.
That one was stupid. Not that the other two before it weren't stupid, but
God.
that one was really, really stupid.
Real dumb.
Well, to answer your question, Bobo, it definitely still holds up. I mean, anytime it's on, if you can catch it, if you haven't seen it before, it's still just a great movie. And I thought it was Spielberg's first one, but yeah, you're right. It was his second one. And I know they had a lot of issues. I think maybe in that, when he introduced it, did he talk about how the shark kept breaking down?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think about this too. Go ahead, Bob.
No, I was just going to say it was well known that the shark had a lot of problems. And because of that, they ended up going over budget. They went over schedule because they could just never get the dang thing to work. And it's ironic because some of the best scenes that involve Jaws are from the shark's point of view.
Yeah.
They don't actually show the shark.
That's true.
Made it, and that was an element that of the horror aspect of it that was perfect. Like that opening scene where the shark kills Chrissy.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Massacre. Ugh.
Yeah, and her performance, it's chilling.
Yeah.
I mean, it is chilling.
Well done.
Yeah, because she's being sloshed around. At one point, she gets sloshed up to this buoy that's right there, and she's holding on to the thing. And she's like, "Oh my God, please help me, God, please help me, God." And all of a sudden, she starts getting pulled away again. And and she's screaming, "Help, help," and then just dropped into the ocean.
That's it. Done.
It is. It's chilling.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And what a way to open the movie.
Oh, it's brilliant. Because you're hooked after that. Like, you're not going anywhere. Do you guys know that the budget for Jaws, this is in 1975.
What was it?
Okay. The exact number is not known, but the range is from 7 to 9 million.
That's it?
Back in 75.
Oh, yeah, that is true, I would say.
That was a lot. That's a lot of cheddar for a movie back then.
Yeah.
I mean, you take into inflation, I don't know what that would be, but the exact number of it, but that was a lot, man, for those days.
God, that movie just like I'm telling you, it's funny what we're doing later tonight because everything goes, hand in hand. But like, oh my God!
And that was June 20th, by the way, that came out in 1975.
Crazy. So its original take, its original domestic take,
for
its first run was $260 million.
Ooh,
And that I don't think that, and that's not counting that it's worldwide. Total with the re-releases that it's had, it's made 477 million worldwide. Now, I'd like to know what that is with inflation.
that's a
Let me
good
see.
question.
Yeah.
Can we do the calculation?
If anyone can,
Okay.
Bob.
Well, there's got to be calculators.
All right, here we go.
Now,
So when adjusted for, okay, so the original release earns 260 million domestically, 470 million worldwide, which translates into 1.5 billion when adjusted for inflation.
Wow.
dang,
So this was a $1 billion movie.
that's
Crazy.
just,
Obviously, it's not going to show as $1 billion movie, but
it's what it
$1 billion
translates
movie.
to. Yeah,
Like if that released today and sold the same number of tickets that it did then, it'd be $1.5 billion.
That's insane.
dang.
Wow.
Woo.
And you said that the budget on the thing was 7 to 9 million, is what you said.
That was that's what I see right here.
So if that was the budget, and you're figuring for inflation, that would probably be what, 100 million,
Probably
maybe 200 million.
something like that.
And you're figuring marketing. This thing was very profitable.
Think
So
about
this
how
is what,
many less. Sorry, Derek, real quick.
no, go ahead.
Think
Go.
how many less theaters were there then?
That's exactly right. And also
Less
think
number
about
of
this,
screens.
and think about this too. This is why I'm saying this is Spielberg's, like, this is where it starts off for him,
Yeah.
because he's the guy that really capitalized on the summer blockbuster pretty much from that point on. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about everything he did. And because he was so successful at it, he was the go-to guy for that after that point. And he never did a bad one after that.
No, and that wasn't bad.
No. That's what I'm saying. This is where it all started, because it was so great. Everything else was a home run too.
What was the
Yeah.
year again?
1975.
Yeah.
So right before, yeah. Good Lord.
And as
Mhm.
Josh, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
Remember what we're talking about. Look at the top
No,
of the
no.
screen.
I was just thinking of all the other, like with Star Wars and American
Of course you were.
Graffiti.
You had to think Star Wars. We're not talking about Star Wars.
No, I'm just thinking of all the films, like how far apart like he was with everything, like with
He
Spielberg.
never knew when to quit. Oh.
You see, I told you couldn't help it. You were eventually going to walk into one.
Yeah.
Anyway, just some
God.
thoughts on my end.
Yeah, please.
I was Josh can tell you, when in elementary school, I had this obsession with sharks.
Oh yeah.
God.
And that was because of Jaws.
You
That's
did.
what started my obsession with sharks.
Jaws and Star
and-
Trek.
And well, Star Wars too, but
Well, not really.
relax, Josh. Yes, you see, you weren't in my house. You didn't become my friend really until high school.
Thanks.
That's true. We went to school together. We weren't good friends until high school.
And we knew each other.
We knew that doesn't mean we were friends.
I knew you
We
had broken
knew
your
each
arm.
other.
I knew you had broken your arm twice and passed out. I knew about that.
Everybody knew about that.
This
It's
is
a
before
school.
social media. Yeah.
Yeah, true story. He did pass out twice.
No, I didn't. That's the story. It was like that telephone game. The way I heard the story when I came back with my cast, I was like, really? That's what you guys said happened?
Yeah. It was like Ferris
Oh.
Bueller's Day Off.
Right?
Yeah, exactly what it was like. But anyway, so my obsession started with this movie. And like I said, that opening sequence is something else. And there are just so many scenes in this movie that are just amazing. The fact that you never really see the shark. The first time you see the shark, it isn't until the shark kills the third victim. And that was there in the pond where Brody's son is in the pond.
Oh yeah.
And and you just briefly see the shark as it comes up to grab the guy. And of course, you see the leg fall to the bottom of the pond.
Oh.
But that was the first time you really see the shark, but you don't get a full on view of it. You're just kind of like, wow, really? You don't get a real good look at the shark until they're on the boat trying to catch it.
Yes.
So, yeah, the fact that you don't see the shark for so long was really cool. It's got a great group of characters with Chief Brody, Hooper, Quint. These are some great characters. When they're on the boat together hunting Jaws, their chemistry together is it's beautiful. And watching the interactions between Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss are hilarious.
Oh, so good.
Mhm.
How
It's
about when
perfect.
Jaws kills Quint at the end? That's really when you see all
But
of Jaws.
there's a lot going on there. Okay, and I'll get to that in a moment. Because I actually want to touch on that. But that is one heck of a scene. But that actually goes back to something that happens earlier in the film, and that is when they're talking there at the table in the boat, and Quint sharing the story of what happened to him on the USS Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And when he's sharing that story about how he was so afraid that as they were picking him up out of the ocean, because they had been in the ocean for like 5 days, that, you know, he was afraid that at that point that a shark was going to come up and get him. And he was like, I'm never going to wear a life jacket again. I'm never. And how does he go out? He goes out getting eaten by a shark.
Crazy.
So
Right.
yeah, and I don't know, Josh, if or Derek, if either of you are familiar with the actual story of the Indianapolis, but
No.
okay, so the story, the way Quint tells it in the movie, is actually fairly accurate.
Mm.
The ship was delivering the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima.
Okay.
And it was a very secretive mission. They had a lot of radio silence and everything. And on their way back, they got sunk. And because it was a very secretive mission, there was no real distress signal or anything like that. And they were out there floating in the ocean for 4 or 5 days before they found them. In fact, I don't think they even reported them overdue because, again, it was a very secretive mission.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like a plane was flying over and noticed all these men in the ocean. Anyway, the estimates were like 1,100 sailors ended up in the water, and only 300, a little over 300, and the sharks ended up taking the rest of them.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's an eerie story the way Quint tells it, but it's a true story. And the fact that they included him in that tale of the Indianapolis, I thought was a nice touch. And then to have him go down the way he does, getting eaten by a shark. But if you notice in that scene, he's stabbing Jaws.
Yes, he got him on the side. He got him on the side,
trying to take him out. In the book, and this is what I was going to get back to. In the book, the way Jaws dies is very different than the way he dies in the movie, and they changed it because they wanted this grand finale for the movie. In the book, Jaws has been basically injured from all the harpoons and everything, and before Jaws can kill Brody, he basically ends up dying and sinking to the bottom of the ocean. So the way they did it was a lot more. Was more grand, and yeah, it was a much better ending. But yeah, there's a lot of incredible scenes. The scene where they're, like I said, where they're at that table and he's sharing the story of the Indianapolis, but the next thing you know, they're singing and drinking, and Jaws is trying to break into the boat. Yes. I mean, it's freaking great. And then the final sequence itself, where Brody destroys the shark. It's a very intense scene, and the way that they captured that scene is perfect.
Yeah,
very.
You got Brody as he's shooting at the shark, and then he's like, "Smile, you son of a!" Damn,
yeah,
beautiful movie magic.
Movie magic, and the best part about the guy, the police chief, the main character, is you needed a guy that was very emotionless to face a monster like that.
Yeah.
Because emotion had to go out the door. You needed to kill a beast. And he played it to the T. It was perfect. Even when he backs up, like he gets scared, but he's not that scared. He's got a cigarette in his mouth. So you're not gonna make me drop this.
But part of it is because his character, remember, this is his first year in Amity.
Yeah.
They talk in the movie about how it's his first summer season, and he came over from New York. He was a cop in New York, so he was hardened.
Yep.
To a lot of that.
That's true. Good point. I forgot about that. Excellent.
And I love it. He's got this hatred of the water. And,
Yeah.
And I like at the very end when they're swimming back and he's like, I used to hate the water. And Richard Dreyfuss like, I can't imagine why.
That was very good.
Oh,
no,
man.
man. Brody is a great character.
He is.
As your hero, I thought he was perfect.
Yep.
And just you're watching him trying to maneuver as the police chief to try to protect everybody, but he's having to deal with the politics of the local town. And that is something that I liked about this movie is that, everybody wants to blast the mayor because he was like, oh, he's keeping the beaches open and Jaws is eating everybody and whatnot. He's murdering people. No, he's trying to actually help the town because this is a summer town. If they don't have the people coming and spending their money during the summer, when the winter months hit, they don't have any income coming in. The summer is what gets them by for the entire year. Quint even points that out during the sequence where they're trying to figure out what to do. They're like they're in the little council chamber, and the mother of that kid had offered a $3,000 reward, and they're all trying to discuss what to do. And Quint comes out and he's like, "I'll catch this fish for you, but I need $10,000, and we got to do this quick because we need to bring the tourists in. That'll get you by to the end of the year."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's like a lot of little details and stuff like that, and it's just a great movie. I love Jaws, one of my all-time favorite movies. I mean, it's not in my, it'd probably be in my top 10, but I know when we talked about our favorite movies, it didn't quite make that list of mine, but yeah, I mean, it's an all-time great.
Now the thing was that I had not even remembered about Jaws until you mentioned it today, Bob. I honestly didn't.
No, it was a great discussion.
Yeah, I know. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my God, that movie's awesome. Like it's good to bring that up again because it's been so long since you see it, and then the mind forgets, but it's a good thing to revisit. It's great.
Now, I talked about some of my favorite scenes. What are some of y'all's favorite scenes from Jaws?
You already said my favorite.
Which one was that?
Smile, you son of a.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great because as he's shooting, the boat is sinking, and so he's just going further and further down.
It's very, very good. I think that's number one with a bullet for me. The first scene is really well done, but Bobby, you're right. It's terrifying. Like if you get queasy in movies at all, don't watch that.
God,
to this day, it's still terrifying. Let's see, and then I don't know why, but yes, the Richard Dreyfuss bite you in the ass scene. I don't. It gets me every time. When he says that, I laugh. He knows how to get me. He knows how to get me giggling.
And it's hilarious because the mayor's like, I don't think either one of you are familiar with our problems. And Richard Dreyfuss, I think that I am familiar with the fact that you're going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you in the ass.
And I see it in my head now with him like all over the place, pointing his finger. Oh, it's so good.
It's awesome.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
it's
remember the boat name. Orca.
The orca.
the
The
orca.
orca. I just looked it
Yeah.
up. I was like,
Because
what was
the orca
boat
is
name?
because that's the one animal that can take down a great white.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was so good.
Hmm. And take it down with ease too. So
Yeah.
those are a couple of my favorites.
What about you, Josh?
I love the part where they're all like towards the end, they're singing on the orca and they're like trying to have a good time. And then Jaws kind of like comes through and starts to wreck the whole boat. It's like towards the final scene where they're
Yeah.
all, because you just know something's going to happen,
And I love it because then it goes dark and you got that theme, the Jaws theme playing, and he's like, he ate the light.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is actually that I forgot about the music.
Oh, the music's the biggest thing.
So
and I
iconic
was
to this
actually
day.
gonna mention that as well. You know who did the music?
Who's that?
Was it John Williams?
It was John Williams.
It was John Williams. Okay. I
You
figured.
talk about the music that this guy has made
Yeah.
Oh my
throughout his
God.
career. We talked about Steven Spielberg.
We should do one for him too.
That's another show that you could do. What are
Yeah.
John Williams' best soundtracks? I mean, look, some of the stuff that he's done, Harry Potter,
Yeah.
he did Jaws, he
Superman.
did Star Wars, the Indiana Jones movies,
Oh,
Superman?
Superman. I mean, there are just so
Yeah.
many iconic themes that this guy has made. And Jaws is one of those.
Yep. And by the way, just while we're at it, gents, because I feel like reading this, I'm going to list you some of the movies that Steven Spielberg did after this one.
Do it.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
Yes.
Mhm.
1941.
41.
Great. 41, yeah. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Ooh.
1941.
Not 1941.
Yeah, he directed 1941.
Oh, 1940. I thought you meant that it came out in 1941. I was like, what?
No, it's no.
What are you talking
Okay,
about?
the
I'm
movie
tracking now.
1941.
Okay, I got you now. Because when you said Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you're like 1941. I was like, come on, 1941.
I was looking at Bob and I'm like, huh?
1941 was an amazing year for science fiction movies.
Oh, the movies that came out during that year were fantastic.
People don't know what they're missing.
All right, so
All right.
1941. Yeah, okay, I'm tracking.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
E.T. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Dear Lord. He was not a director on this film, but he was a producer. Poltergeist.
Yeah.
He was a director for this one. That was Twilight Zone, the movie. Then you had Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. I can't believe this. He directed The Color Purple. I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good to be reminded of that. We need to give him his nod for this. He was an executive. He didn't write or produce it, but he was an executive on The Goonies. That means he was associated with it.
Okay.
Empire of the Sun, he directed and produced that. Then, of course, the last Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade. Well, the last one that really counted. He did a movie called Always, if you remember that. And okay, if you must, Stephen. And then Hook.
Yep.
That was him too.
He was also producer on Back to the Future.
Uh-huh.
And
That's
he
right.
did-
Yes.
And he did the American Tail, right?
Anime. Yes, he did.
You're right. He did do.
He did do
And-
that.
And I got to tell you guys, do you know how I know that?
Hmm.
His mother, who passed away a couple years ago, owned a kosher restaurant here in LA. It's so random that we used to go to because of my sister, and it's still there now. And I think we even saw him there one time. But you go towards the bathroom. You know how all bathrooms you go through a hallway. The whole hallway is lined with posters.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing American Tail. I was like, wow, I had no idea.
That's the one you remember?
Oh, no, I remember every other one, but it was just cool because they kept, adding, but just seeing American Tail, because that was a great movie from our
I'm just
childhood.
teasing you, Josh.
Yeah,
That
you guys are
American
kidding.
Tailor is actually a good movie.
No,
That
they
is
had like
a very good movie.
honors. They had all the original theatrical posters.
That's pretty cool.
Which I am glad that you mentioned that, because do we have anything else to say about Jaws? Because that might be a great
What a
segue
transition.
into our next topic here.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Anything else about Jaws, real quick?
No,
No.
shout out. Classic. Glad we talked about it.
All right. So again, this is a great segue into our next segment here, as we are going to be giving you our favorite movie posters.
it's too many. It's too
It-
many.
The music there was cool.
The music was
really cool.
perfect. That was great.
It was awesome.
So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into our favorite movie posters here. Hopefully you guys got them ready to display. So Josh, let's start with you.
Good Lord. Are we sharing screens here or are we?
Please.
Let
Mhm.
me see. I don't even know. Let's see.
Are we doing like the way we normally do? We do like honorable mentions in the top 5? Or
No,
we
you know what? Just
throwing-
give all the your
Okay.
list of your favorite movie posters. Because that so if we're gonna be
Alright.
sharing screens, that way we don't have to just kind of jump between them or whatnot.
Well, I'm
Mhm.
doing all of mine now, right?
Just go ahead and do them all. And
Okay.
then just let us know which are your top 5 when you get there.
Okay. Let's see. Share screen. Is he just let's see if it'll let me. Let's see. You know what? I don't know if this is gonna let me, boys. What is it
I'm
saying?
sure
Chrome
it is. You're
tab?
just doing it wrong.
Oh my god, why? Entire screen.
You want to share like the tab.
Oh, the
Yes.
tab? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
on the tab. But it's
You
not
go
letting
to,
me
like
type
where it
it.
says present, you're gonna hit share screen,
I did that.
and then you're gonna where it says tab, and then you're gonna select the tab.
It won't let me.
Josh.
I'm telling you right now, it's not letting me. I'm clicking select a tab to share.
Did you actually select the tab after you?
Yes, I clicked. It's highlighted in blue,
Okay.
but there's nothing else. There's a white
Okay. So
blank.
once it's
and then
highlighted
right-
in blue, then at the bottom you'll hit share.
it won't let me. It's blacked out.
Would you like
Of
for me to
course.
go first, Bob?
Yeah, so he can
No, you
figure
know
it
what?
out.
I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, so mine. So all of mine. All right. So my honorable mention. One of them, Major League. I
Yeah.
thought that was a really cool poster with the baseball and the ponytail, and just always enjoyed it. Thought it was very cool, very colorful. That was one of them.
It looks
Another
pretty good.
one. Another one I had was in Bobby's room back in the day, the Phantom Menace, the one where you had Anakin with the backpack and you had the shadow of Darth Vader behind him.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
You remember you had that one, right, Bob?
I don't know whose house you're talking about. I didn't have that up.
Yes, you did. You had that in your room.
Oh, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did. So just
Yeah. Idiot.
notice he was actually beginning to question himself.
I know. He had a minute there.
No, I knew exactly where it was too. So I always loved that. A couple other honorable mentions I put down. Aliens.
That's a great one.
That one with, I forgot
Oh.
what does it say? It says, oh god.
Okay,
what is it?
aliens or alien?
No, Alien, the first one.
Okay, because
first
aliens
one.
is not the first one.
That's
No,
a
no,
different one.
First, I know. The other one I always liked was Jurassic Park.
Okay.
I thought that was just cool because you didn't know it was very mysterious.
Mhm.
One that I liked that I wrote down was Superman Returns because it shows him kind of heading towards Earth, and he hadn't been seen. First time since 1987 we had a Superman movie. So those are just honorable mentions. My top 5 are number 5, Jaws. Nothing is, cooler than that with the person swimming, the girl swimming, and the mouth going open. Number 4, Back to the Future.
That's a great poster.
Really enjoyed it. Number
All
3,
three of them are actually really great.
yeah, they do. Number
are.
3, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, perfect.
Just awesome with the whip and everything. Number 2 will surprise you. For me, I just have always remembered it, is Batman, the original one, 89.
That's a
Just-
great poster.
With just the because you knew like what they were doing. Like when they first put it up, and you had the logo, and that's it. There's nothing else. It was the Bat logo,
That
and
poster was everywhere too. It was great.
It was so good. And my number one, I got to say, Star Wars, the original one, the one where Luke's holding up the lightsaber, and you got Darth Vader in the back, and Leia's right there, and I always remember that one.
I'll allow it.
Okay, thank you. So those are mine.
All right.
All right, Derek, your turn.
Okay, hold on. Let me actually do it the right way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Very good.
I guarantee you, all you had to do was click something.
I don't know. I'm on Google Chrome, and it did not.
Sure you are, Josh. Okay, you guys seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually was able to find this article, and it had a lot of what I was already considering. So then I just went through it and got some further ideas from it.
All right.
The Graduate is a fantastic one because we know what's happening here, don't we?
Oh, yes. Dustin Hoffman. Oh,
And that's
so
lovely, is what that
Josh,
is.
do you want me to explain it to you?
really awesome. Just heard this whole segment.
That's pretty cute. How old are you, kid? 11? 12?
That's pretty funny.
Oh, it's great. And look, this is Benjamin. He's a little worried about his future. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
That is a good poster.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Josh, don't do it.
Josh.
Oh, sorry. I got excited.
Mean Streets is another one I really liked. This was Martin Scorsese's like big
I
time.
never saw that movie.
Oh, dude.
Have you seen
Put
it,
on your
Bob?
list.
I have seen it, but it's been a long time. But I saw it wanting to say I saw it like 20 years ago, something like that. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'll keep going here.
I think I actually have it.
You might actually have that one?
I think I have it. Because I think it's on like on a disc that's like a combination disc. It's got like several different movies.
All right, then. Good to know. Love in the Afternoon is a good one only because it truly is a classic. And man, when it comes to just real beauties, Audrey Hepburn was just something else back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
She was magic. What a true star. Let's see. What else do I have here? This is a great one. The Social Network.
Oh, I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, that is very well done.
Yes.
I love that movie. It's really, really great.
Really good. Isn't Andrew Garfield also in that?
Yes, he is in that. That's true.
Yeah.
Plays the guy who sues him. This is an incredible one too. The Rocketeer.
Yes.
That almost made my list.
It's
Really?
really good looking. Look at that thing. It's gorgeous.
Jennifer Connelly. I love Jennifer Connelly.
Well, yes. I mean, you should.
God.
She's Summer 1991. Dear Lord.
Wow.
All right. Bringing it back. This is actually on my list.
Clockwork
too.
Orange, yeah.
Yep.
That's
that is my number 4, by the way. I'm gonna go all over the place here. But
Okay.
that is iconic. Look at that. That is so good. All right. This is actually my number 3.
Metropolis.
Again, this is a movie that very few people have heard of because it's actually a German film, if I'm not mistaken. But this used to be all over San Francisco when I was living in the city. And I thought I didn't know if I was like not in on a club or something like that. But this was everywhere. It was on like walls of buildings, murals. It was very, very cool because the artwork is really cool. This one's just, it's a good looking poster too. Just really looks the part. This is actually my number 5. This is Anatomy of a Murder. Way back when, right? Saul Bass's many masterpieces. Huh? What's that? Are you there?
No, I said you have random ones.
I
don't
told
think that's
you.
random.
Some of them are random, I guess, but yeah. There's
That
the
one.
one. There's the one I love in terms of trailers. I mean, it's a great poster, but it's not on my list. Let me keep going here. Speaking of Gone with the Wind, there it is, Bob. Good poster. Let's see.
That's the one.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's that. This was my number 2.
Really? Nymphomaniac was your number 2?
Are you
Yeah.
joking? Come on, that's a joke,
No.
right?
This is hysterical to me.
Oh my God, Derek.
Well, I mean, especially if you know what the movie's about. Yeah, so
Exactly. Okay, like you know exactly what that movie's about. Come on
Yeah.
now. All right, I'll keep going here. There it is, boys.
There it is. That was the
Yep.
one.
wasn't Shia LaBeouf in, wasn't he in Nymphomaniac?
I think he was.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. This was actually
Full
one of my
Metal
honorable
Jacket.
mentions. Yeah, this is a great one.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That almost made my list too.
yeah. Stanley Kubrick, man, talk about another one who could
I saw that a long time ago.
throw fire. Yeah, it's been a while for me too, but man, it's still good. Let's see. Hold on here. Let me keep going. Trying to bring it in. Not that one. Okay. This actually
Good.
almost made my list. Probably should have. But this is great.
Yeah.
The Usual Suspects. Come on, man. That is iconic. It did make my list, but that is iconic.
It is iconic.
Yep. And this was actually going to be my other honorable mention. Was this
I
one?
like that. I like the look of it.
Yeah. It's very Tarantino.
Yeah.
Very Tarantino. Okay. I can't.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's awesome. You got to give a shout out to that. Come on.
Absolutely.
Was that on your list, Derek, as an honorable mention or no?
It was actually just one I picked out. It wasn't on my actual list or an honorable mention, but I gave it a shout out for sure.
Yeah, it's an iconic poster.
Yeah. This is actually one I'm giving a shout out because this is my dad's favorite movie.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that. I remember that. God.
Yeah. This is my dad's favorite movie. It's Chinatown.
China.
There you go. There was another one for you, Josh.
Yep.
Let's see.
Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Alien. Go back to Alien Wings.
What's that?
Okay, no, Jurassic Park, but also I mentioned Alien. I wanted to see what it says on it because I
Okay,
thought it was
hold on.
so cool when you get a chance.
Hold on.
Wait,
Yeah.
you want to see what it said, but you thought it was so cool?
No, I don't remember what the description was underneath.
Josh, you're ruining my number one,
Okay, go ahead.
which is what I'm showing now.
Jurassic Park is your number one.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Think about how many places this was.
Oh, it was
This was everywhere. And everyone was so excited for it. And it's simple. It's
simple, yeah.
It's just simple, but you know it's awesome.
And who
Right.
directed it?
Steven Spielberg.
Thank you very much. That's where I was going next.
So cool.
That is a Spielberg movie, folks. There we are. And then, of course, you wanted to go to the Alien one? Okay.
Yeah, what's it say under there?
In space, no one can hear you scream. That's the line they say in the trailer.
So good. That's so
Yeah.
good.
So that is my number one. I think I went through just about all of them in terms of what I like. Here, Josh, I'll give you a shout out here in terms of your little poster.
Look how cool that was.
All right. Now we're done. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that was all of them. My number 5, okay, my honorable mentions were Pulp Fiction and Full Metal Jacket. And then my 5 was Anatomy of a Murder. My 4 was Clockwork Orange. My 3rd was Metropolis. My 2nd was Nymphomaniac. And my number 1 is Jurassic Park.
There you go. All right. So from Josh not being able to show the pictures, Derek running through an article to me, I have now stylized these posters for everybody and made it aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So here is my list. So you can put a nice glow around the posters. So my first honorable mention is Pulp Fiction. I mean, look at that. Uma Thurman, she looks great on this. I like the fact that it's supposed to be like it's a magazine or something like that on there, and you got the 10-cent mark, and then it's like it's a ripped up magazine or kind of old. So I like that there. And then look at that cast on that: Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Rames, Eric Stoltz, Christopher Walken, Bruce Willis.
The crazy part about it is it's like a 50-50 cast too, because there are actors on there who are up like very well known, and then the other half is ones that kind of got famous just off of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great. Yeah.
So yeah, Pulp Fiction is my first honorable mention. My next honorable mention was Jurassic Park.
Nice.
And
So
there's nothing more to say about that. That's fantastic poster. It's an iconic image right there. And you instantly know from this picture what this is going to be about. This is going to be about dinosaurs. So, so that's great. My next one was Alien.
That's a great one.
Next honorable mention. Then Silence of the Lambs.
That's a great one too.
I think
that is an iconic poster there. I like the fact that you see the butterfly there. Not the butterfly, it's a moth that's there. It's very eerie, but it goes very well with the movie. So
no, Clarice. No.
Next, let me see.
The Exorcist is a great one. That was, I think you were just down there, Bob.
Okay, yeah. So that's my last honorable mention is The Exorcist. And again, you've got the image of the priest there in the background, there with that, on right in front of the house, and just kind of a little bit of light highlighting them, and it's in black and white. I think it's well done.
Yeah,
very well.
So my number 5, Halloween.
Yeah.
I think this is an iconic poster, especially given the movie, but you just see the night he came home. I think that's a great poster there. What I think would have made it better, but is maybe if you could see a little bit of the mask in the knife. I think that might have made it a little bit better, but I don't think it's necessary. It's still an iconic poster. So I got that one as my number 5. My number 4, The Empire Strikes Back. I actually like this. I like this poster better than I do the original Star Wars one. You see Vader in the background with the mask. You got some X-wings up in the corner. Luke there on his tauntaun, and it's a great poster.
It's very well done.
And right there, they hint at the relationship between Han and Leia, so that's cool.
They got that from Gone with the Wind. Don't tell me they didn't get that from there.
Probably did. My number 3 is Back to the Future. That's an iconic poster as well. Marty checking his watch. The fire,
the DeLorean,
and they're in the DeLorean. So everything's great in that poster.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
My number 2 was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's a thing of beauty, man.
It is. I like a lot of these older posters like that have this older look. That's
cool.
That they're drawn in, not actually with pictures of the characters. They're drawn, and I like that. It's like it's artwork, and so I enjoy those a lot. And my favorite movie poster is the film we just talked about, Jaws.
Good.
How can it not be? I mean,
look at that thing.
Like Josh said, you got the shark coming up, ready to eat Chrissy, because that's sure who that's supposed to be. It's an iconic image. Again, you clearly know what this movie is going to be about. It's going to be about a man-eating shark, and it's just so iconic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still plays to this day too.
Yeah, so those are my favorite movie posters, and there's a lot more good ones we could talk about out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like Josh mentioned, I had the one with the Anakin, and it had Darth Vader in the background. I also had all of the movie posters, the ones with the artwork on it, and from each of the episodes, because my whole office at the house that I had with my ex-wife, it was Star Wars oriented. So, but yet Josh keeps saying, hey, you like Star Trek better than you like Star Wars. If that was the case, hold on. If that was the case, why didn't I decorate my office as Star Trek?
Because your wife was also a Star Wars fan. And
no, that had nothing to do with
Star Trek fan. And so you wanted to If you were going to
No,
do a room,
because my ex-wife was a Star Trek fan also. My ex-wife was also a Lord of the Rings fan like me. That's what I chose to decorate my office.
and by the
Remember, I
way,
even
Bob,
had
I'm
some.
not even
Hold on.
talking about
Remember,
that.
hold on, Josh. Remember, I even had some of the toys in that office.
I'm not even talking about that office. That poster,
No,
I first saw at your parents'
no,
house.
no. But I just brought that up because earlier in the podcast tonight, you said you like Star Trek better than you like Star Wars. Well, then why was it? Then why didn't I have a bunch of Star Trek posters up there?
Okay, you're right. You're a Star Wars fan
Okay.
over Star Trek.
All I'm saying is that maybe you're wrong on that.
Well, he's at least a fan of episodes, the first 3. Give him that.
Yeah.
No, I had episodes. I had the prequels and I had the original trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, Return of the Jedi is still one of my favorite movies to watch. It's great.
And Bob
And
now
then-
has a picture of Kathleen Kennedy up on his wall now.
There will be none of that.
Really, Josh?
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a shrine to
Yes.
it. Yeah.
So that poster was in Bob's parents' house. That's where I remember it, in their office. Or
I
I
no,
don't know
remember-
what's worse.
Go
I don't know
ahead.
what's worse, Josh. Me having a poster of Kathleen Kennedy, or you having one of Dave Filoni?
I'd much rather have one of them.
Because you know your boy there, you're messed up a sucker.
Don't worry, season 2 will be much better.
Yeah, I'm sure it will because
Eric, you don't even like Star Wars, so you can't even be in this conversation.
right, because I didn't need to be in this conversation because I didn't waste my time.
Go sit in the corner. Well,
No,
Bobby
you
and
can
I
sit
have
in the
a-
corner. No, Josh, he's got to side with me anyway because I didn't have to watch it.
That's right. Because it
Okay.
sucked.
Wait, you know what it was? Hold on. Wait, what's the word I'm looking for?
Crap, mega crap.
That's right. That's it. Got it.
I don't even know
It
which
was.
one
God,
doing
it
that.
was.
I need to learn I need to learn this.
I'll give you.
And
No,
I'll-
you couldn't
No,
even
go
figure out how
ahead.
to share your screen, Josh.
Good Lord. Yeah, good point.
All right.
And
Now he's going to try it again to see if he can pull it off. All right. I'll give you some other movie posters, though, that actually didn't make any of our lists, but they are worth a shout out, though.
What's that?
You remember how big American Beauty was back in the day?
Oh yeah.
You know, I will say this. It had a good poster. I
Yeah.
hated that movie. But-
there were a lot of people
but-
that didn't like it, but that poster was big. I remember
Yeah,
that.
it was. I'll give him that.
And we will also give a shout out to Airplane.
Yes. That was a great look.
That's another
was
one that
fantastic.
I considered for my list because
Yep. That's a great poster.
Such a great movie. I still can't believe Blaine did not like that movie.
Well, okay, to be fair, Blaine also said, look, I understand I'm the odd man out here. Like, I get it.
I know, but such a good movie.
But this is why.
It was just that scene.
Perfect. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
good shout out on that one because Airplane's poster is great. You got the airplanes
plane
all
guy.
like twisted up and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh, it's twisted up in a knot. It's tremendous. There's another discussion to be had about. Oh God, what were we talking about last week? Where they were remaking something that we didn't think was going to
Naked
have-
Gun.
Naked. No. Naked Gun. We said was actually going to work. There was another one. Where we
Oh,
what were we
We're
Spaceballs.
talking Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. Airplane gets back to a conversation. I think, like Blaine was saying, this is what I mean. I know we're going off on a tangent here, but Blaine's reaction to Airplane is what I think a lot of what people will think about the new Spaceballs. I think it's going to be like that.
I said that last week.
I know, and I'm going to say it again. Okay. Hello.
I'm listening to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm just listening. I didn't know you were done. I was just listening to you.
Not really.
I know you want to just repeat things over and over again, so go ahead.
Yes, I will. Okay, I will. Okay, I will. Okay, I will. Okay, was that enough repeating for you? All right. Ghostbusters probably should have been on one of our lists too, because that deserves a shout out, a big honorable mention.
What about the Dark Knight? Did you like that poster with the fire, the bat, and the flame? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, not my favorite. They should have done something with the Joker card in that one.
I think the one with the Joker where it says "Why so serious" is actually a better poster.
That's a great
Yeah.
poster.
But was the Fire one a theatrical poster, or was the Joker one a theatrical poster?
I don't know.
I thought the one with Batman was the theatrical one.
Well, probably yes. No, you're right. That's the one that it was. That's true. Let's see. Another good one was another good one was the Truman Show. Actually, that was a really well done one.
I have one. I'm very shocked Bobby didn't pick. Rocky.
What's that?
No, I considered Rocky.
Yeah.
Wait, now hold on. Which one?
The original.
The original.
The actual original one. Okay.
But yeah. I think Rocky 4 is pretty good too, where they're holding him up and he's got the American flag draped around him.
Yeah, that was a good one. Let's see some other shout outs here. You got to
like the poster for John Wick too.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. You actually had this in the intro before, but Blade Runner is pretty dang cool too.
Yes.
Oh, I saw that. Yes.
That's an iconic poster as well.
That's artwork. That is truly artwork. The way they did that, that's unreal. Well done. We already talked about. I mean, there's a lot of really cool like old school posters, like the Drivers.
You know what was really good? Do you remember Fright Night?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
because I'm going through a list right now of like some old-fashioned ones, and then you got the house there with the clouds coming up, and in the image of the clouds, you've got the vampire, kind of there in the clouds. That looks pretty cool.
That's a good one.
The original or Superman the movie was a good poster.
Yeah.
It's all the clouds and it's got the streak kind of coming across, and it's got the S there. A Poltergeist with the little girl in front of the TV.
Oh God!
Which one?
Poltergeist.
Oh yeah. What about the original Scream?
That was a good one too.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I'm looking at it right now.
RoboCop is a good one too.
RoboCop's
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah. With him getting out of the police car, right?
Yes.
God, why didn't any of us use that one? That was a great one.
There's too many, man.
I told you both. I was like at 10.
By the way, another piece of artwork. Shout out to Apocalypse Now. That almost.
Oh yes.
Oh, how about Hellraiser?
Oh God.
Remember that one?
Yes, I remember Pinhead. I remember that guy.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street one was pretty good too.
That's a good one too. That's a great one. God, you want to talk about a lot
of the horror movies have some cool posters.
Yeah,
Rosemary's Baby. I was about to go there.
Oh, geez, hold on. Rosemary's Baby. I never saw that.
It's so creepy.
I've been big in horror movies, though. I was like you, Derek. I had no interest.
No, it's a terrifying poster.
Rosemary. Okay, here we go. Let me see.
You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You want me to share your screen?
No. You don't. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yes. the green in the face. Holy
terrible.
Cow.
Yeah.
Very bad. Good Lord.
What about the original Gremlins poster?
Oh, yeah.
Was it that was one or Gremlins 2 that is so iconic?
Gremlins 2?
No, I'm trying to.
No, the original Gremlins, I think, is a better poster.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There was, oh gosh, what was I? I was thinking about this one for my stuff too, but I did want to give a shout out to the Sandlot, that poster, because my boys love that movie. But Major League, in terms of baseball, Major League is.
Major League is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, Major
E.T.
League
was a great poster. You mentioned the Back to the Future, how all of them were really good. Each one was just a take on that very first poster, but they added, Doc into the second one, and they're wearing the futuristic clothes, and you see the DeLoreans hovering. And then for the third one, they're all in the Western gear, and they added what's her name?
Mary
Spielberg.
No. Yeah, that's the actress. But what's the name of the character?
Claire.
Oh, Claire.
Clara.
Claire.
Clara Clayton.
Clara. Oh yeah.
And
That-
so they had her there, and they're of course in their Western gear.
Her name was Clara, right?
Yes, Clara.
What kind of stupid name is that?
You know what? I'm looking at Back to the
Clayton,
Future Part 2.
Clara Clayton.
Clara
I might
Clayton.
like Back to the Future Part 2 poster better because of Doc.
Well, but Doc's in the Back to the Future 3 poster.
No,
He's
no,
in
no,
all
no.
three. He's in the two of them.
One. Instead of Back to the Future 1.
They're all
Oh,
great.
you're saying you like that one better? Okay.
Yeah.
I just happen to like the original better.
Let's see. I'm looking at Back to the
The
Future
original
Part.
Terminator poster is great.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I'm telling you, there's too many, Derek. There's too
The
many.
Matrix, the first Matrix.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's an excellent poster.
Let me see.
Mhm.
Matrix poster. I'm looking at all these as you guys are saying.
Super fun, man. Super fun time. They should open up a museum exhibit with all of these, and I guarantee you we'd be in there for 3 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yes.
What's funny is we'd be walking through, we'd be going, "Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
one." We'd just be standing like in front of them, like,
Those were the days.
I'm trying to think which other ones were Crocodile Dundee.
That's a good one.
I'm telling you.
good.
I'm maybe. What else?
Well,
Oh,
okay.
I'm surprised. I bet Bob loves one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
"That's a good one."
Yeah,
It's a great outdoors.
That's
Yeah.
a great one.
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck also very good. You know,
Oh,
I gotta say, I forgot about another guy who should probably get his due here. Spielberg is obviously one of them. But back
Yeah.
in the day, John Hughes, you couldn't
Oh,
touch
yeah.
him either.
Oh God, he had so many movies.
He was
Oh.
undisputed champion for a while.
How about Parenthood?
Parenthood is also a great poster as well.
That's
That's a good one.
good Lord.
Yeah,
there's so many.
there are so many that you could say are iconic.
Yeah.
Like we said, Ghostbusters wasn't on any of our lists.
No,
but
and
it's an iconic poster.
yeah.
And that's the way it is with a lot of these, is that coming up with this list was probably one of the tougher lists that
Yeah.
we've come up with,
Mhm.
because there are just so many good ones.
There's Friday the 13th.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Like
Revenge
I
of
said,
the
horror movies have some great posters.
Great posters.
How about Revenge of the Sith?
All right.
You enjoy that. Oh, that's good stuff, man.
You hear that, you know you're gone.
You're done.
We did trailers, right? We did our favorite trailers, right?
We did do our
Yes,
favorite
we did.
trailers.
Yeah.
I think. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember what our number ones were. I think Bob's was Endgame, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my favorite trailer. Was
Yeah.
Endgame.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what Josh's was. Star Wars
was-
something.
Josh's it was
no.
actually Man of Steel, wasn't it?
That was mine.
No, that was yours. You're right.
Yeah.
Was mine the Snyder cut of Justice League?
Yes, it was. That's what it was. That's why I was thinking Man of Steel, because yours was the Snyder cut,
Yeah.
but you specifically was the teaser trailer.
Yes, with
Mhm.
the Hallelujah song.
The Hallelujah song.
The Hallelujah song.
It's just
I'm trying
called Hallelujah.
I'm trying to think of other stuff from the 80s because I feel like that's where you had the best posters.
That was the thing too, is that like the posters were kind of just as big as the trailers were back in movie theater days.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
X-Files?
That's
Did that have a good poster?
It was okay but
Yeah.
remember, the X-Files was a show primarily. So, I mean, yeah, it did have two movies, but the X-Files was more popular for the show.
they had
it had
posters for the show.
It had
yeah.
9 seasons, and then it had the mini series that was like 6 episodes which they call now season 10, and then they had an 11th season which ran 10 episodes.
Revenge of the Nerds is pretty hysterical.
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh, I have one. Porky's.
That's a crazy movie. I like Porky's.
And who did I
It's
see?
hilarious.
And guess what? Who did I see Porky's with? You, Bob.
Was it me that you saw it
Yep.
with?
You and I rented it and watched it when we were in high school.
That's a movie.
Of course we did. That's
a
when we
movie-
were friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember sitting down. We were laughing
That's a movie you cannot make today at all.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Look
hilarious.
how Bob started smiling when it's like, did we watch it? Yep. I remember watching Porky's. Oh,
Lay on each other in Porky's. Oh, God.
God.
The boys from Angel Beach.
Oh, hold on. There's got to be other.
There
Well,
are.
there's a lot of good ones. I mean, we could just
Yeah.
go on.
I'm just trying to think of ones we would. Something About Mary?
Well, I mean, that was
I
fine.
think the best posters were those earlier posters.
Yeah.
I'd say from like I think like a lot of the movies, like the old school movies from the 50s, the
Those
the
were cool
40s,
too.
the 30s,
Yeah.
they had great movie posters because again, it was like artwork.
Yes.
And like we mentioned, Gone with the Wind, the Wizard of Oz is a good one. Casablanca, these are iconic posters. The Ten Commandments,
Yeah.
you know,
Dear Lord.
I mean, we could just go on and on.
We could.
Ben-Hur? Wasn't that another one that had like an
Yeah,
awesome
like
one?
all of those were fantastic.
Clash
So,
of the Titans?
I don't remember the poster for that one, but the movie was pretty cool.
That's messed up that even Medusa could still turn you into stone when her head was chopped off.
Oh God, I remember that. God, I've seen that movie so many. I never saw the new one.
Oh, you know what was great? The Never Ending Story.
Oh, I can't talk
my
about that movie. I can't
goodness.
talk about that movie.
Why not?
Too sad. Too sad. Can't do it.
It's happy.
It ends the right way.
Have you seen
Yeah.
it, Bob? You've seen it, right?
I just said it ends happy.
Oh, I know, but I don't know.
Yeah, it ends happy. Have you seen
How
it?
about Basic Instinct?
That's actually a very good poster.
And a very
It-
bad, enjoyable movie.
Yes, it was all of those
Oh
things.
God! Oh my God!
Don't say you didn't enjoy it. Don't.
You know,
Goodness,
Are you
only you,
kidding?
Josh, can go from we're talking about the never ending story and go to Basic Instinct.
I don't know why it just came out.
If you want to talk about extra cool, you could go with Days of Thunder. That was a good one.
Oh yeah, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Great. How about
Oh,
Cocktail?
yeah.
Cocktail. Well, that's Tom Cruise, man.
I know. Great movie.
Risky Business.
Oh, now we're now we're just talking about Tom Cruise.
Yeah, so I mean we can keep going.
We can keep
All
going.
But all right, anything else?
Nope.
No, that was a good rundown.
It was good.
All right. So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Let's go ahead and give us some social media. Josh, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok.
Derek.
All right, you can keep me feeling old with this conversation because I love it. But you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn.
And you can find me over on my YouTube channel at Bob Loves Movies. Also on X and on Criticless. Get over on Criticless, guys. It's fun over there. I love reading some of these reviews. That's cool.
I started off like pretty high over there, and then I just dropped off. I gotta jump back on that thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Go ahead and drop in the comments section what some of your favorite movie posters are. We'd love to hear from it and hear your thoughts on the NBA Finals and on the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure talking to you guys tonight. You guys have yourselves a good evening.
All
Have a
right.
great evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.